Hi, Alec.
Hey,
So, what do you think? I don't even know if it's true, but from what a lot of people say, in your generation there are strong feelings, but not a lot of doing. Do you think that's the case, or is that a misperception?
I think it's a misperception in the fact that we want to be doing, but it is hard to get to a place where we can do.
Can you say more about that?
Well, um, take jobs or positions of power or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of the jobs that were available for high school kids now require having graduated out of high school or having previous experience or even having a degree, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to even fathom getting a job with no prior experience under your belt.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a friend once told me that when they were looking for a job, they found one that was like they're looking for people from that they were hiring like people fresh out of high school, so like 18, 19 year olds and stuff, but they wanted 25 years of experience. And they showed me a screenshot of it. That is an actual thing that happens. And it's like, what do you expect?
Yeah.
Do you expect an 18-year-old to have 15 years of experience to go to a job of something that they are just legally being able to do?
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know. It's like expecting your baby to write an essay when it's 2 months old. That's ridiculous.
Well, there's obviously a disconnect between what the older generations expect and and the and what your generation has been actually done or experienced.
Right. And you know, a lot of older generation, a lot of the adults,
Mm-hmm.
they get like, what do you mean you don't know how to do your taxes? Or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that we were never taught. How can we know something that we're never taught? And we are just like getting out of high school or going into college or or getting out of college. But the thing is that you don't learn about taxes in high school and you don't learn about taxes in college. In my economics class, you know what we talked about?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about supply and demand, and
Mm-hmm.
then we watched nothing but survival TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
And by survival TV shows, I mean specifically the show, um, Why Am I Still Alive? Or How Did I Survive This? Or something like that. The title was something like that, but it had nothing to do with the actual class itself. And that was my
So you can
economics class in high school.
so you can't do your taxes, but you can survive a kidnapping.
Well, the episode that we saw was being trapped in the wilderness during a snowstorm.
Okay.
So I do know that the baby had a bigger chance of surviving than the mother because the baby was insulated better.
Right. Okay. That might come in handy one day.
When I turn back into a
If
baby.
you're a baby, yeah. And
Because there's no way I'm getting stuck in a blizzard with a baby.
well,
I'm not much for babies. It wouldn't even be my baby.
Yeah, but you know, who else would you expect to get stuck in a blizzard with a baby? If not you. How you got there, who knows? But if somebody can get there, it's you.
Really? Here in California?
Yeah.
Okay. We could easily get stuck in a blizzard in California. Yeah, for sure.
But
where else?
Yeah. But also, don't you think that the way that you interact with people, you as a generation, I mean.
Oh my god, now it's my turn.
Your turn
now. Okay.
As a generation, don't you think that the fact that all interaction happens online, that there is no person-to-person contact or communication, or very little of it?
It honestly, it always depends on the people or the person.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the people that I know spend a lot of their time on the internet, but that's because I spend a lot of my time on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
If you go outside, you'll see people of all ages being outside and doing all that. It's a thing between preferences, uh, mental ability. Like, some people find it super hard to talk to people online, and other people find it super hard to be around people physically, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a difference of, like, how you're wired. Introverted versus extroverted,
Well, yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah, but that's the thing, that it used to be that the only way to communicate was by being with someone.
Right.
Right. And once in a while, you could be sending letters that it would take days or even weeks to
Right.
have that cycle of I'm saying something to you and then you say something back to me.
Right.
Right. Couple of pages for every missive, but now it's all on text.
Okay.
And very quick.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the communication happens without you watching their body language, without you feeling their area of influence, their surrounding, without tonality of sound. So all of that has to be put on the text, short bursts of text.
Mm-hmm.
And so just physiologically, the way that you're communicating is like bent over the apparatus, the machine, and then you're having multiple conversations with different people at the same time. So the headspace in which you are seems to me like it's very different than where you are when you have to look at someone and they are looking at you, and you see how the hands move, and you feel it in your skin, the vibe, the vibration, the mood in the room. So do you think that's kind of affecting the way that we are? And I'm not just talking about your generation, because all the generations are like that right now.
I've seen moms completely ignore their kids in favor of the phone.
Yeah. I know it's the only difference is your generation was born into it. It was already like that. And you rarely experience the other. I know it's
we grew up with it, but were we actually born with it? I know for sure Generation Z was born with it.
Yeah, that's true.
They were born with a laptop in their hands. Not a laptop, a tablet in their hands.
That's true. You still like under 5, under 10, you still had a lot of personal interaction, no?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of playing,
Yeah.
physical playing.
Well, I was a lot less physical with my playing back then.
Well, I don't think
But
so. You were running all over the place and
I liked to sit under a
wrestling.
tree and talk with my friends.
Well, I did
Even
too.
in elementary school.
Yeah, I did too.
Sometimes it was all that I could do, given what happened
Yeah.
about my recess stuff. But yeah, it wasn't until middle school that things switched to internet conversation. And even then, we still talked a lot on the phone.
So you have gone through that transition then.
Yeah, the thing with, I guess, my age group is that we've gone through pretty much all of the transitions in the span of 15, 20 years.
Right.
I think that's very telling of our age, because it's like we spent such a long time in like one area of technology, I guess. And then the past 30 years, 30, 40 years has been like an extreme big boom of speed in how things progress. And it's just getting faster and faster. And I think we are lagging behind in how to adapt to these things. And it's very visual in adults who sneer at people who are taking advantage of these technology. Like back in my day, we used calculators, or like there was this one guy at the bank, and he didn't know how to use his bank card because it had the chip in it, and he didn't know how to use the chip. So he put it in, and it like beeped at him, and he was like, I didn't do anything. I don't know what happened. And it's supposed to beep. He did it right. He did it right. But then he said, man, I wish we could just go back where there were no computers at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was very adamant about that. And my mom thinks that she's bad with technology, but she's not that bad.
No, she's not.
She's not to the point where she wishes we could go back to the days before computers and data, and before the information age, I should say.
It seems like as humanity we are outpacing ourselves. We're moving very fast. We're moving on the deadlines of corporations that are putting out newer stuff, right?
Right.
And we're trying to catch up.
Yeah. I think a lot of the whole like controversy behind technology and its effect on socializing is because half of us are not utilizing it in the right way, and the other half don't understand the difference between one form of communication versus another.
Right.
I don't think that it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a flawless thing either. But I do think that a lot of people don't see what's really there. I mean, my therapist has told me you lose like 60 to 70% of the conversation because there's no eye contact, and there's no fluctuation of voice, and there's no hand movements or anything like that when you're talking online. he says, you cannot read tone. And I just so wanted to, like, type him a text that is, like, dripping with sarcasm to prove him that, he is so wrong, you can read tone. The thing is that everyone uses tone a little bit differently. And you have to learn how someone uses that tone. Like my mom, for instance, her voice gets really loud and stern when she is trying to make a point. But she is not angry at you.
Or when she's happy.
Or when she's happy. She gets super loud and very, like that is how my mom uses tone. But when I hear someone get like this, I think they're yelling at me and I think they're really angry at me, But it's like you have to learn how people talk, and it's that way for both verbal, visual, and typing wise, texting wise, one person using a period at the end of the sentence is normal, while another person using a period at the end of a sentence means that this is super serious, like even small little differences like that conveys a tone.
Mm-hmm.
You could type something, and when you read it out loud, it reads, "Oh yeah, so of course when a baby throws up on the floor, it's okay, but when I throw up on the floor, versus, man, I can't believe babies can get away with this and I can't." There's a huge difference between the two of those. Mm-hmm. And you could read the tone in that if you know how to read the tone. There's not an absence of tone, it's an absence of understanding the tone. And I think that's where my therapist is behind it.
Tone comes from agreements that we make. It's not inherent to the medium, the tone,
right,
or the meaning. We come to agreements of what something means.
Right.
And how we use something, how we use
right.
volume, how we use punctuation, or the lack of punctuation, and all that.
Right. But as you can see, sometimes those agreements don't line up, such as the thing with the tone of voice my mom uses when she's, like, just talking versus what I think is angry voice, and the same goes for in the text. The same goes intergenerationally. Mm-hmm. The same goes for different cultures. There is no universal, and you have to learn how each individual person does it for you to be able to communicate effectively through text or through voice or through many different things.
I have a friend who took monastic vows. So he went to live his life in a monastery. And the first night he was there, all the monks got together in the dining hall. It was just a big area, like in Harry Potter, with a lot of long tables.
Oh yeah.
And they all sat there and they started serving the food. They ate, they prayed, they ate, and then it was time for relaxation. And the monk sitting next to him says, "Okay, so now we just relax and tell jokes." And so one monk just got up and he said, 27. Everybody started cracking up. And then another got up and said, 127. And then another one over there said,
"Oh, they're precious.
14. And my friend was so confused. He was looking at her saying, "I don't get it. What's going on?"
I should have said 69.
Well, no.
Or 420.
No, that's too... But
it's too raunchy for them.
Too raunchy, yeah. But he said, what's happening? He said, you have to understand, we have been here for years. And, some of these guys have been in this monastery for more than 50 years. And when you've been together for so long, there's just, so many jokes that we can tell. We all know the jokes. So instead of telling the same old joke over and over again, we memorize them by number. So now if I just say the number 7, everybody knows what joke I'm talking about and what the punchline is, and all that. Oh, he said, that's so interesting. Yeah, he said, can I try it? Yeah, sure, go ahead. And so he got up and he said 35. And everybody was. And then he sat down. He said, what happened? No, everybody's. Don't worry about it. It's just your delivery. Your delivery is not right. The joke was fine.
Yeah.
So that's
pretty much it. Yeah.
Pretty much how it is. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk some more about communication the next time.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So, we are now on iTunes. We are on Stitcher. We are on Google Play. And the show is on iHeartRadio.
Right.
So, go check it out.
And Libsyn?
Libsyn is where our page is. So that should be on the millennialmind.libsyn.com. Libsyn is LIBSYN. On the Millennial Mind. Or just go to Google and type on the Millennial Mind.
Or go to the podcast app on your iPod.
Yeah. Well, on your whichever app you use. Yeah, we're likely to be there. And don't forget to subscribe and rate us. Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll talk to you next week then.
Okay, talk to you next week.
Right,
We're actually on time this time.
On time this time, yeah. I'll talk to you next week and I'll text you in between.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.